Hey everybody, I am Nick Dillard. I am coach of the Sure Shots 4-H Club in Washington County, Florida. Today we're going to be talking about the different types of shotguns and some pros and some cons. This video is really geared towards first-time shooters, so I'm going to be talking about it from that perspective. So we're going to start with the over and under. This is my Blaser F3 12 gauge over and under. It's a pretty heavy gun, and so the reason it's heavy is because the weight helps to reduce the recoil. The reason that I shoot an over under a lot is because they're more dependable, they're more reliable, they're a little bit easier to use. There's a whole lot less moving parts right here than there are in a semi-automatic. They last a little bit longer. They can really take the abuse that those of us that shoot a lot put on our guns. But some of the drawbacks of a gun like this one is it is heavy. Like I said, the only way that this gun has to absorb recoil is its weight. So therefore it has to be heavy. So for a first-time shooter, you don't want a heavy gun. Now there are lots of lightweight over-unders out there, and they're very affordable, and they have lots of options for youth shooters and female shooters. But when you get a lightweight gun, you're sacrificing weight, therefore you're going to have more recoil. Another negative for those guns is that when they are less expensive and they are lighter weight, they tend to be not as well made. So they're not as reliable, they're not as dependable, they really can't take the abuse that a nicer higher end over-under can. So that's the over-under options. The other option that we use a lot is the semi-automatic. This is a Beretta A400. This gun is specifically made for shooting clay targets. It's a little bit heavier made, but it's a semi-automatic. So what makes semi-automatics great is that they are lightweight. You know, this gun weighs half of what that gun does and has less recoil. So it's a great gun to carry around in sporting clays. And that's what makes semi-automatic such a great gun for a beginning shooter. We have less weight, we have less recoil, we have tons of different options. You know, we can get shorter stocks for youth, for women. You know, all the same options are out there. And another, I think it's a benefit to a semi-automatic is that you can spend a little bit more money in a semi-automatic and get a better gun. You can't spend a little bit more money and get a better gun in over-under. And then some of the negatives to the semi-automatics is that they have a lot more moving parts. The way that the action works is from gas pressure or inertia, and those two actions absorb recoil by making the action slide. Well, that in itself is a whole bunch of motion. The action itself is moving, and it has a bunch of mechanisms and triggers and springs in there. And so there's a bunch of parts in there. And so when you start getting the entry-level guns, they start having parts that don't fit together and don't work as well together and tend to wear out a little bit faster. A quick conclusion of the two is that you can find entry-level guns in an over-under or a semi-automatic for around $500. And for a starter gun, either option works. They're great. They're going to get you through a couple of years. You're going to figure out if you like this sport or not, and then you're going to go hunting your next gun. My personal recommendation is that youth shooters get a 20 gauge semi-automatic. They're lighter weight and they have less recoil. And that's what we want. We want them out there breaking targets, not worried about the impact on their shoulders. Another gun that we haven't talked about and we don't talk about a lot is the pump. Pumps are great guns. Everybody should own a pump. Everybody should hunt dove or quail with a pump. But sporting clays and trap and skeet are not necessarily sports that are geared for pumps, especially for first-time shooters. You're busy getting comfortable with the gun. You're learning the sport. You got a lot going on. You don't need the added complication of trying to work a pump. Later on down the line, when you get good at the sport, if you want to go get Granddaddy's old Remington 870 Express and come out and shoot skeet with it, by all means, do so and enjoy it and love it because those are great guns. But for a first timer, which is what this video is geared for, that's not the gun that I recommend that you bring. So that's really it in a nutshell. Semi-automatics, over-unders, both great guns. Lots of options out there. The biggest thing is go out there and find a gun that fits you and that you're going to enjoy shooting. And I hope to see you on the range somewhere soon.